I've been asked to talk about what does the future hold. I haven't got a crystal ball, so I don't know, is the bottom line in that. But I do think we need to actually start from the premise and from the understanding that actually the experience of getting a diagnosis of mental health problems really is a life-changing, shattering event. It's not just about any problems that you've got, but it's also about all that kind of, the images that we have of people with mental health problems, isn't it? You've got a choice. It doesn't matter whether you look at the Daily Mail or the professional literature, you've got a choice. You can either be a mad axe murderer, or you can be a poor incompetent who can't look after themselves. I've always wondered which I'd prefer to be. I have to say, I tend to err on the mad axe murderer side. Never mind, don't believe that. But I guess one of the real things is that you become other, one of them rather than us. And I can never work out who the thems and us's are, because I occupy that horrible kind of no man's land between the trenches, you know, a professional who goes mad from time to time. So you're hated by everyone if you do that. But I guess, if we think about it, we have traditionally assumed that these very nice professionals, you know, doctors and nurses and clinical psychologists like me and social workers and OTs and anyone else I forgot to, please forgive me. But we assume that we go to the experts and get fixed. And there's this kind of nice sort of notion, isn't there, that us professionals have got access to some special body of knowledge that can't be understood by mere plebs. And so it's our job to tell people what to do and to make sure they comply with our prescriptions. But I guess finally what's coming to light is another kind of truth. A truth actually that people with mental health problems have known for many years. I guess we can look back at things like, the alleged lunatic friend organisation of 1845. Everyone always mentions that, but you'll forgive me if I also mention the early feminists. People like Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Georgina Weldon, who were writing very similar things in the 1860s and 1870s. And this is a truth that knows that technical treatment is very far from the whole story when it comes to thinking about recovery, about rebuilding your life with mental health problems. I'll tell you one thing, I was absolutely amazed at how little my being a clinical psychologist equipped me for coping with life on the other side. I was just as at sea as anybody else. And I suppose we've finally coming to recognise that there are two sorts of expertise. There is the expertise of all these professions and degrees, and there's the expertise of lived experience that's at least, and I would probably say more, important. Often you can learn most from someone who's walked a similar path to you. It's difficult to describe the kind of companionship of knowing someone understands without you being what you can't actually put into words. The knowledge that you aren't alone. The sharing of stories. The sharing of experience. The learning, the growing together. And that sense of purpose, meaning that you can get from actually reaching out to someone who's maybe in a similar place that you have been. And I guess this is really what peer support is all about. Now, it's always happened. It used to happen just in those sort of quiet corners of asylums, didn't it? The smoking room, out of the gaze of professionals. It's happened where people have got together in self-help groups. It's happened where people have got together in political action. It's happened in all of the peer-run services that we're now seeing. And let's remember, these are not something new. In the early 90s, with Judy Chamberlain, I visited Ruby Rogers' house. I visited the Berkeley Drop-In with Sally Zinman. These are peer-run services that have been going since the late 1980s. This is not something new. And I guess we're finally realising that truth that Judy Chamberlain captured in her wonderful book in 1977, On Our Own. Who's read that? If you haven't, you ought. Because actually, we've got to understand that a lot of this work came out of the American Civil Rights Movement. It wasn't something that was born of great professionals. And I really do think that On Our Own was one of the first times that we actually recognise that, we can do it, and we can do it ourselves. And I suppose latterly we're seeing the whole of this, in truth, encroaching on the bastions of mainstream services. And I'm not just here talking about statutory services, I'm talking about mainstream voluntary services as well. We're beginning to see some of those mainstream services being run, well, largely by peers. We're beginning to see not just the odd token user in the corner lurking around somewhere to be wheeled out at handy times. We're beginning to see services where the primary relationship is ceasing to be one of expert and patient, but is really becoming that shared journey of discovery, that mutuality, that equality. And I think this is really exciting because we know about the power of peer support to actually transform the lives of people who experience mental health problems, who have a diagnosis of mental health problems. But we are also, I think, beginning to discover the power of peer support to transform our support services. And for me, this is equally important because let's be absolutely right. The majority of people who experience mental distress actually end up in one of the mainstream statutory or voluntary sector. We have to talk about voluntary now, not third sector. Big society abolished the third sector. It's now the voluntary and charitable sector, I'm told. And I guess it really is showing its power to transform relationships between support services and the people they serve. To really make sure that services are tailored around the concerns, the wishes, the interests of those people that they serve. To really make meaning to the whole self-directed support and personalisation agenda. Moving beyond sort of old-fashioned involvement. I'm sorry, I was having a little go at David earlier. I think we've got to move beyond notions of involvement. They sort of reek of involving them in our services. Let's actually borrow from the disability world. Let's actually talk about co-production. Let's talk about co-production of understanding, co-creation of well-being. Let's actually talk about that real shared decision-making. And I think what we need to be doing is saying to professionals like me, hang on, we don't want you telling us what to do. You should be, as Churchill said of scientists, on tap, not on top. You may have some skills that might be useful to people some of the time, but as Mary O'Hagan said, why don't you regard us like hairdressers or plumbers or architects? People who may have some things that may be useful to someone sometime. And let's be right, I need my hairdresser dearly. I have no idea what colour my hair would be these days without the roots getting done once a month. But she doesn't run my life. I tell her what I want. Every now and then she'll say, Rachel, you can't do that with your sort of hair. If I don't like it, I go somewhere else. It's a very different relationship. And I guess one of the loveliest things I saw in the early 90s was a lovely outreach team in Portland, Oregon, entirely peer run. And they had hired a psychiatrist to work 2 mornings a week. A lovely kind of reversal of the usual power relationships. I think peer support has a central and transformational role in making sure that the support we offer is really focused on helping people to rebuild their lives, find that new sense of self and meaning and purpose in life. And I don't think we should always assume it's going to be easy. You see, we've got these professions, and one of the things that it means is that, hang on, maybe professions don't have a monopoly on expertise. I was taught when I was at the Institute of Psychiatry that I was an expert. Hang on a minute, maybe we aren't. Maybe we've got to accept that we don't know all the answers, that people may say thanks but no thanks. We've also got to understand that we've got to ask just exactly how many mental health professionals do you need to run a mental health service? Sacrilege, I realise that. And I know we're facing really tough times at the moment, But I don't think we should ever forget the power of people who have mental health conditions to change what happens. And I don't think we should also forget how many allies there might be lurking around in the mazes of mental health services who actually would prefer this as a way of working, never wanted to be God. We are facing tough times, and tough times are going to cause us problems. But my maxim would be never waste a crisis. I'd take you back to the last big change that happened in services. We did not close the old asylums out of some grand act of altruism. We closed them because we couldn't afford them. It was kind of an unholy alliance between fiscal conservatives and therapeutic radicals. I think we can use the current crisis to ask those difficult questions. I think the peer-to-peer network is going to be really important in asking those questions. I think it is really important, the documents that you've produced. And I'll just finish by quoting from the foreword that I had the misfortune to be asked to write. And I said at the end of it, these are important reports and they should be essential reading, both for those of us with mental health problems and all who aspire to be our allies and support us in our journey. Thank you for producing them.